Welcome to the Inspiring Tech Leaders podcast with me, Dave Roberts. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk about how to prepare for ransomware and measures that can be taken to help mitigate the impact. So let's start. What is ransomware? It's a type of malware that can target your computer or organizational network and subsequently locking you out of either your data or your computer network or potentially both. The first known ransomware dates back to 1989, but it's rarely been only since 2005 that examples of extortionate ransomware have become prominent. Ransomware will often try to spread itself across the network and infect as many PCs, file servers, and database servers as possible. Information is often either deleted or encrypted to prevent you accessing it until you're contacted by the hacker, who will provide details of the ransom payment required. Most often, the ransom demand will require payment in the form of cryptocurrency. One of the most frequently asked questions at this stage will be, should I actually pay the ransom? There's absolutely no guarantee that if you do pay the ransom that your files will be unlocked. According to a recent Sophos report, on average, only 65% of encrypted data was restored after a ransom payment has been made. However, some organizations, as part of their response plan, have set up cryptocurrency accounts in the event that they opt to pay out on a ransomware attack. Law enforcement agencies across the world discourage people from paying ransom demands, as it only continues to fuel the appetite of criminals involved in these activities. There are, however, a number of steps that you can take to prepare for such events. Perhaps the most important of all is to ensure that you have regular and complete backup schedules in place that have been tested and that are also physically separated from your network. Otherwise, your backups may also fall foul to ransomware attack. Hackers will, of course, target any connected backup devices or solutions in order to make the recovery process even more difficult. Often, hackers will target organizations over a prolonged period of time, which means that backups might also be infected with malware. It is important that you scan your backups for any potential malware. Prevention is better than cure, though, so you should ensure that you have systems in place to stop malware entering your network. These systems include web and mail filtering systems and multi-factor authentication wherever possible. As mentioned on the last podcast, using least privileged access will also help to reduce the impact the ability of malware has to spread across your network. Permissions should be reviewed on a regular basis and revoked when necessary. Keeping devices and software regularly patched and updated also helps to stop known vulnerabilities from being exploited by hackers. Ensuring you have antivirus or anti-malware products installed across all endpoint devices where possible. Network firewalls can also ensure that access is restricted to particular IP address ranges. Segmented networking will also help isolate critical services from each other and help to mitigate against the spread of malware. Of course, cyber education and user awareness is a critical part in helping to combat this battle. However, despite best efforts, social engineering attacks can still do take place, so I would recommend that you prepare a ransomware response plan. An important aspect of your plan should be a clear and concise communication plan for both internal and external audiences, ensuring people have well-rehearsed drills on what they should do in the event of a ransomware attack. You may have legal obligations to report any security breach or a requirement to inform shareholders. Your plan should identify how you can isolate your networks to avoid spreading malware. It should also identify the critical systems and the priority order in which systems need to be recovered in the event of an attack. It should identify the various teams responsible and consider using a RACI matrix to ensure everyone understands the role they need to play in such circumstances. Running test scenarios is important and can allow you to revise your incident management plan accordingly. If ransomware has already taken hold within your organization, you should disconnect all the infected endpoints immediately and consider disconnecting other systems from your network as a precautionary measure. Remember, this is both wired and wireless devices. This might mean disconnecting your internet connections and disabling your core network equipment temporarily. You should reset the passwords for admin and system accounts, but ensuring you don't lock yourself out from backup systems if needed for recovery. You'll also need to check that your backups have not been infected during the attack. All the endpoints that are known to be infected should be wiped and reinstalled as needed. It's important to identify the strain of ransomware which has infected your computer network to ensure you have the appropriate tools needed to remove the malware. There might be a number of other endpoint devices that have dormant malware waiting to execute, so it's best to assume that all connected devices could have been exposed to the malware. Where possible, it's best to reinstall software and operating systems from fresh rather than restoring from backups. There are websites that can potentially help to remove ransomware, such as the No More Ransom project, but depending on the ransomware being used, there might not be a decryptor available yet, but it's always worth trying if you find yourself in a difficult situation. Gradually, you need to restore your network and monitor for any unusual behavior, ensuring antivirus and anti-malware is updated and rerun to detect any endpoints that might still be impacted. If you have been impacted by a ransomware attack, you need to plan on how to prevent the reoccurrence of the infection occurring. Always conduct a lessons learned activity after any incident. You should also check to see if you have a general cyber insurance policy and if there's a provision or not for ransomware. It might be worth reviewing what insurance coverage you have in place. Overall, cybersecurity is now a regular boardroom agenda item across most organizations. It's something that CEOs and COOs have taken notice of, and as technology CXOs, we all need to keep learning about the ever-changing cybersecurity landscape and the importance of good cybersecurity posture across our organizations. I hope you found this podcast interesting. Please let me know what other technology topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes of the podcast, and remember to subscribe and stay tuned for more inspiring tech leaders.